Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Hey, Buzz babies, it's Wednesday. It's a little early. I know everybody's confused. I am too. It's fine. But as usual, we're going to come out and we're going to talk some awesome comics. One in particular, it's the new Kickstarter from Invader. Very, very excited about that. It's called Greetings from the Maglev. It's got art by the magnificent Adam Cahoon, a great script from Mark Espionsa. It's amazing. It's live on Kickstarter. We're going to talk about it. Let me bring these badass creators in. I've got Adam and Mark in the house. What is up, gentlemen? How are we doing today?
Whoa,
we're good, man. How you doing,
good. How are you?
Good, man. Guys, I'm so excited to talk. The last around March, I started being the publicist for Invader, and it's been a whole lot of fun working with them to promote their comics. And I get to read the new stuff and hear about the new stuff like before everybody else. And when they started talking about Maglev, I was like, okay. And then I got to see some art, and I was like, okay. And then they sent me like the pages, and I got to read it. And like this thing's like 90 something pages. And it's like, I ate that shit for breakfast, guys. Like I sat down, it was just like, nom, 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 nom. It was delicious. It was amazing. I had so much fun with it. Chris Miles is the hero we all need right now. I feel like, right. Like very, very much like Damn the Man, Save the Empire Records vibes in a sense. And I love her, and I'm so excited for more people to get to experience the chaos of this. Now, this is your first official like graphic novel, right? Like you guys have been working on this for like 7 years or something, right?
For both of us, yeah. So this this is the first thing. Well, no, I take that back. Maybe I think Mark maybe has some previous work. This is the first time I'd ever considered doing a comic at all. And this was, I think we started in 2015.
Wow.
Mark had the script and brought it to me, and I started drawing it, having, I hadn't even considered doing comics previous to this. I was painting, I was showing art in galleries.
Oh, wow.
And kind of that's where all my focus was. And then
so from
Mark
galleries to comic shops, Mark made you slum it up for the comic industry.
Yeah.
I like to think I elevated a little bit. Come on.
Yeah.
I can't remember what. I think I had gone to. Funny enough, I looked at some photos. Like Facebook always seems to like know exactly that time is a circle. Mm-hmm. And like recently, it was like 8 years ago. You were at an Adam Cahoon art gallery opening, or it was like maybe like 12 years ago. And I was wearing a pink shirt and a black vest, and I was like, baby.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah.
I was looking for that picture I posted today of us on your Facebook page, and I went down the entire thing, and I stumbled upon that picture, and I was like, nah, I'm not posting that one. No one's.
I appreciate that. Like that one guy. When I can't run for president because that photo is circulating on the internet.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh well.
You seem like a nice guy. You don't want to run for president. I just hear it.
Yeah,
ruins
why ruin it?
That's okay. Good point.
You'll make like 5 people happy, and then 5 billion people hate you, and then it's just why? And it's it's just a glorified America's MC. Like, who gives a shit? We're not going to talk. We're not here to talk about that. I'm just kidding. Politics are great. Everybody vote. It's a wonderful system. We all live in. Nothing wrong with it at all. Please continue to watch Blake's Buzz. I am a patriot. But like for real, guys, it's so exciting that this is finally. Well, did you guys like kickstart it before to like a smaller audience, or has like it's never been released? You guys have just been sitting on this fucking gold mine forever.
Well, we printed a small batch like just for us, just to kind of put a button on it because we'd been working on it. Yeah. It'd just been kind of sitting dormant for so long that when we had it all lettered and had it finished, we were like, why don't we just print some for us and just see, just so we could hold it. And then see where it goes from there.
What was that like?
It's never been released.
Yeah, I feel like the book from beginning to now has been just kind of me experimenting with this possibility of even writing a comic script. And then like, as Adam said, I kind of threw it at him and he was like, yeah, comics. And let's see. And I remember we were like Googling like how many panels on a comic page and how big should a comic page be and how many words. And like he drew it all before we even like lettered it. So when we're putting the book together, I was like, well, I got to change this dialogue because Chris Miles would have this long diatribe. And I'd be like, oh, I only told Adam to draw one tiny little box in the corner. So we did everything backwards. We learned it from how to learn as we were going. But yeah, so we started this book. We did it. We, Adam created this 2 beautiful graphic novels. But I think our lack of experience and just life in general, like, I don't know if you heard this big pandemic thing happened or other that kind of shut us down for 3 years.
It got weird for a little bit.
A little bit. So yeah, but we created this book and we were just like, thank God Invader came along and helped us push over the next step because who knows what would happen. We just would be sitting here staring at it being like, hey, remember 20 years ago we did that Maglev book? Yeah. Okay, well, it was good to see you.
So let's go back in time 12 or so years ago when your fashion style was a little bit more chaotic, Mark. So you're at this art gallery just slaying it in the pink shirt and a black vest and just walk, maybe eating some hors d'oeuvres, maybe drinking, I don't know, some I've only been to like a couple art galleries. They were like, I felt way out of place and they were very, very fancy. I did like, everybody's gonna laugh because I bring this up all the time. I was in an MFA program and a lot of our MFA, like in the arts readings and where we do like the poetry and read the writers would read stuff. They always had them at like these fancy art galleries and shit, right? And I'm writing some like creative, gritty nonfiction about being a bouncer at a bar at the time. And so I'm like at these fancy places, like saying fuck over and over again into the mic because it's restaurant dialogue, right? And it's just like we all were terrible people, and I mean we were good people but drunk all the time. And like I'm like telling these stories in these really fancy places in like jeans and a t-shirt, and I was always like, I don't really fit in here, but maybe I should have just had a pink shirt and a black vest. I wish I could go back in time now and change things.
I'm telling you.
So you fall in love with Adam's art at this art gallery, and you guys did you know him then, or did you like introduce yourself? You guys hit it off, became friends. Like how did this dynamic duo come to be?
Oh, the story goes way earlier than that. We actually worked at a frame shop together called Cheap Pete's in San Francisco. Yeah, I was Adam's boss, and then we were co-workers, then we were both managers. I can't remember the timeline of it all. Yeah, we just kind of stumbled in this place, and we were just there every day, making art, being silly, cutting mats, framing stuff. It's wild. It was like a small, like random job. I moved to San Francisco 20 years ago, and I moved out from New Jersey with my best friend Steve and Lauren, and me and Steve were playing Tiger Woods, like golf on like Xbox or something, and Lauren came home and was like, hey, you need to get a fucking job. I was like, cool. So I walked out of my house, turned right, and there was a frame shop right there. And I walked in. I was like, you guys hiring? And they were like, you're hired. I was like, cool. And then Adam showed up a couple months later, and then, the rest is history.
That's so awesome. It's, I one of my first jobs, my first job was at Blockbuster, and it was great, except rewinding tapes all the time because it was back in the VHS days, right? And no one, even with all those Be Kind rewind stickers, no one rewound the fucking tapes. And so it's like there's a lot of rewinding VHS tapes and alphabetizing stuff. But one of the next jobs I got, like when I started college, I worked at O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and I met like two of my best friends that are basically like family now. That like come to like have like the permanent invite to like Thanksgiving, Christmas brunch, like everything we do, like they're basically family. Like I met them at that job, and so like jobs are so fucking terrible. Like no one if we could all get away with not working, it'd be great, right? But like it's like that necessary evil. But it's crazy, these weird random jobs and the really like life-changing relationships that you can find there, right? You stumble across
it's all shared trauma.
Human beings. Yeah. Adam and I were in the green room talking about Seinfeld and talking about how so many people say like it's a show about nothing, and we were like, no, but it's a show about these not great people, but the relationships like between each other and these random people in the city that they inhabit, right? And that's one of the reasons that show it was so great, is because we all have, they may not be as scripted and comedically magnificent as those episodes like laid it out to be, but it was a very universal feel of like what it is to just kind of like be a not perfect human being in a very imperfect world, right? And to make it hilarious on top of it. But that's cool. Like I dig that. So you guys work at this frame shop, you get to know each other, and then one day Mark's just like, hey man, like I just want you to draw this comic for me, and you were like, yeah, let's fuck around, let's find out.
More or less, yeah. So I've been like I said, I've been painting. I went to school to be a painter, and I've been showing galleries, and really kind of found out I didn't really like that world as much as I thought I would. I felt very out of place in a lot of those rooms, and there just wasn't like a real good sense of community. Like I met really great artists, and built great friendships out of it. But the overall, like it was a different sense of community there, that it just felt more like backbiting and infighting and people trying to get ahead sort of, and it just didn't. I went from like, you go from this like creative space in like art school where everyone's kind of working and learning and growing together to this sort of very isolated world of showing, where you're in a cave painting by yourself for months on end, and then you show it to people with a lot of money, and it was never really like an enjoyable experience, and so I was kind of at a loss. Like I was really kind of scratching my head as to what I was going to do next, and so Mark he came back from Comic-Con. It was like right after Comic-Con in 2015, and he texted me and asked me if I wanted to work on this comic book with him. And at the time when I said yes, it was just to work with Mark. Like it was just like, okay, I'll work on this comic as like a contract hire, and then I'll see what I want to do after the comic is done. Like I'll do this for right now. But it was really just the chance to kind of hang out with Mark on like a creative endeavor. And then it took me about a year to do the first book, the one that we're kickstarting right now. And after that, I started finally going back into comic shops, and then started going to little conventions here and there, because I was like, I got to see what other people are doing. Like I really should get out there more. And I realized that the community in making comics was so much more built. Like it was so much more inviting. And I realized like, not only am I not going to be painting in a corner by myself, but I'm going to have a writer, and I'm going to have a letterer, and I'm going to have a colorist and an editor. And it's going to be like, we can get some of the team back together. We can get some of that kind of that part of the creativity that I like very much. It's fun drawing by myself, but I'd way rather be building something with a team of other people. And the convention world is just a lot of fun. And so, when I was struggling with the kind of the isolation of fine art, I was really very open and happy to find this world of comics.
Because it's interesting when you were talking about that, the isolation aspect anyway, because that's all I typically ever hear, right? Is a lot of people get excited, when I talk to them, or if I write someone like a good review, they're like, dude, it's so nice to be noticed, because it's just like I just feel like I'm by myself screaming in the void. And because there is, when you are the artist and you're drawing all these pages, right? There is a lot of solitary. I mean, I'm sure you're sending the pages to Mark and the team and like showing stuff off as you're done, but it sounded very similar to what I've heard. You were like, I was in this cave, I was making this art, until the part where you're like, then I would take it out and show it to rich people. Now you take it out and show it to people that have spent all their money on other comic books. So
yeah, but also the idea of like trying to like hawk your wares, like the idea of like you try and sell a painting. The gallery always inflates the price to like beyond what like my friends could even afford at the time.
Okay.
Right. So I could sell 100 comics, and make that much, and I could sell them for like $5. I was like, okay, that's easier for me to do. Like I don't feel like I'm pulling the wool over somebody's eyes to be like, hey, here's 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks, and you get this thing I made. Okay. It felt like a much easier ask, to like ask people to pay that, as opposed to like hundreds or thousands of dollars for like what amounts to a poster that I made.
I mean, hey, it's still pretty cool that people would pay. Yeah, I mean, like I would think that would feel good too, right? Like, I guess maybe not. Maybe it makes you feel like makes you feel like a snake oil salesman because you were like, I made this thing, and like, if you want to buy it for thousands of dollars, that's great, but like, maybe don't. You know, I don't know. Like,
I'll tell you what, it always felt better when it was a stranger.
Okay,
for sure. Like when they were like, oh, someone you don't know paid for this painting, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. But every time it was someone I knew, I'd be like, fuck, why didn't you just ask me for it? Like, just take me aside. I'll give it to you.
Talk to me before it got hung up on the wall here, man.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Shout, we got some people in the chat real quick. Want to shout them out. We got Mr. John Westhoff in the house. What's up? Ronan coming from Australia. What's up, baby? Mr. Dano Cosmics in the house. K-Pop's in here. K-Pop is really impressed with all of our facial hair. So that's really she's really we can't all be worthy of bitching facial hair. I'm doing my own I'm in my Andy Reid era in Kansas City right now. I look like Andy Reid. But no, it's that's really cool. And by the way, I'm going to bring up the Kickstarter page, but I do want everybody to know I'm going to post a link in the chat. You guys, click that. You guys could click that link on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, and it'll take you to the Kickstarter page, which we'll bring up here in just a moment. Which is because that's why we're here. We could tell stories all night, which of course we will. There will be more stories. Don't worry. I'm just bringing it. I got to bring it back in real quick so I can go off the rails in another 5 minutes. But greetings from the Maglev. And speaking of going off the rails, I mean, this thing. It just goes. It just goes. We're in the future. There's a super fancy all electric highway that like only the rich and privileged are really able to kind of travel to, traverse this hellish landscape that the world has become after all the resources have been depleted and gasoline is no longer a thing. And so I dig this. I dig this idea of like transportation, which is such a basic thing now, right? And we all take for granted, but now we're in this future where that's something of the elite, right? It's like you're only really allowed to experience that kind of like travel luxury. It's like like you could, like most of us like fly in an airplane, but only a select few like can do like the first class treatment, right? And so I love this. I love this idea both because I think ecological fiction is, I think it's smart, right? Because it's nice to remind us that we are all fuck ups and we've totally fucked everything in this world. And like, it doesn't feel like it now, right? But like, as the generations pass, like, sucks for you guys after we're dead because you got a lot to put on your shoulders. But no, I mean, I think it's an important message which you guys carry very organically. Like throughout, it doesn't feel like you're beating us with rulers like an angry nun or something, like, it's saying like, bad American, bad. And it's, but it's like, but it is a reminder that like, hey, like, the way that we live our lives and the things that we are accustomed to have a huge price, right? And this is a price that like future generations are going to have to pay for. So I was digging it already just from like the realness of that perspective. But then, we get to this like, Adam's almost got like it's not Frank Miller, but I get like some Frank Miller kind of like there's some vibes, right, with the kind of like the heavy inks and the kind of like the tech noir kind of vibe to it, right? And also just like the dialogue is quick and brash, and there's a lot of grit, and there's a lot of grit, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of violence. And so yeah, I couldn't help but like pick up some notes from like the icons who have like kind of carried this genre before. But I dug that like we're bumped way ahead in the future, and it's a little bit different, and it's very, kind of like bullet. I was calling it in the Invader meetings, I was saying like Bullet Train meets Rick and Morty kind of, right? Because there's a little bit of humor there too. But
that's great.
I just love everything about this book. And like I said, I'm really, really excited for more people to get to know Chris and like,
oh yeah,
where like when you're writing this, Mark, like, because you'd done some anthology work and some zines and stuff before, right?
Yeah.
But like to be like, I'm gonna write this graphic novel now, like that's a big step in a writing career, right? So like, where did this idea come from? What made you like, I have to tell this, I have to make this?
Well, long story, very long story, but I'll try to calm it down a little bit. Working at the frame shop, it was a random night. I was all by myself, dark and stormy, raining, and a guy comes in some little like tough little guy, bald guy, big beard, not Adam. And he has like these things he wants to get. He's picking up some art that he had framed, and they're like Adam talking techno, like 14 by 30. They're like long and wide, but they're beautiful. But it's raining.
That's not a standard size.
Yeah, it was custom. It was a custom job. But it was raining, and the guy was on a scooter, and I go, dude, like, what are we gonna do here? He goes, I gotta get this home. So I wrap it in garbage bags. I go extra mile. I tape it to this guy's back. He walks in. He's like, all right, man, I'll see you later. I'm like, Godspeed, brother. And he was like, hey, I really appreciate the help. And I'm like, don't worry about it. So anyway, a couple years later, there's a comic book store in San Francisco called Isotope. In the offices of Isotope is a publishing company called AIT Planet Lar, ran by Larry Young, the famous Larry Young. If you don't know him, Astronauts in Trouble just got republished by Image. She's done Johnny Dynamite, Last of the Independents, all these great books under this publishing company. I walk into Isotope, and Larry Young is like, I know you. And I go, I'm a nobody. I'm just a guy who loves comics who has dreams of writing a comic book one day. He goes, you're the dude who helped me pack up my thing at Cheap Pete's that one time. And I was like, oh my God, that was you? He was like, yeah, man. And he was like, I love you, brother. I got it home. I had to like carry it under my arm. These guys were driving along next to me, smoking weed, blowing it out. They were like, look at this motherfucker. And like, I was like, and he like got it home. And he was like, dude, you helped me out so much that day. And I was like, that's so cool. And then like now Larry and I are like great friends. I'm working at his booth in San Diego tomorrow, booth 2001, Planet Lar AIT. But I had always kind of had ideas about writing a story, like having getting a comic book out there. And Larry is just so generous with his knowledge and experience, and he's just so eager to help. And we were the story was originally going to be something else, and we kind of pivoted from that. And he was like, let's make it your own thing. Let's make it your own story that you and Adam could just kind of like have out in the world. And he helped me like map out how to write a story, how to do like act 1, act 2, act 3, where the people should go, where like the characters should be like experiencing certain things. And then I took that and I was like, all right, let me write the script. And I wrote my first script was about a cowboy in the desert who was a robot. And Larry read it and was like, this is complete trash. And I was like, awesome. And he gave me my notes. And I wrote this other book with his help and, kind of idea. And my buddy Steve, who I talked about before, kind of like pitched some ideas of like what could be cool. Like there could be like a party bus on this highway. And he helped me kind of move things along a little bit. And then I sent the second script, the Maglev script, to Larry. And he goes, no notes. Perfect. He goes, ooh. I don't know what you did, but you jumped from here to here, from like your last script to this new script. And I was like, hell yeah. And then I go, oh shit, I don't know how to draw. I don't know any of that kind of shit. And I think Adam at the time, as you were saying, we're kind of like in between this little like area in your career where I think you were doing a lot of like these like comic style doodles and you were posting them online. And I was like, holy shit, right. Maybe I was like, maybe Adam will be kind of interested in doing a graphic novel. Let's see. Hey, buddy, you want to draw 180 pages of this comic idea that I had? And the rest is history. Now we're here.
Wow. Yeah. Yet again, I'm reminded that I need better friends in my life.
Well, and I'm also reminded of like, you got to be nice to strangers, man, because you never know.
That's true.
Like, you'll be helping some random person out on the street, and then 3 years later, they like completely alter the course of your life and give you like some of the best knowledge you've ever been given by anybody. And they become a great friend, all because you were like, you know what, I'm going to help the stranger out. They seem to be going through some stuff and they have a good, they need some help. And let's see what we could do for them.
I like that. As someone who's done many, many years of customer service, and now, now I do a lot of PR stuff for like Kickstarter clients and like Invader and some publicity work, which is very much like also customer service, right? But it's like it's like customer service is important, and even when it's hard sometimes, right? Because everybody has a shitty day, everybody has like bad experiences and stuff, and people are sometimes just dicks to you, right? But it's like going that extra mile for people or for clients, even when you don't have to, you just to do it, it does pay off. Well, it pays off sometimes. Sometimes no one notices, and you go home at night and you're just like, why did I do all that extra shit for this random person for no reason? But it's just it's nice to hear stories about where I was like, I just tried to be a decent human being, and then later on it really paid off. So like that's cool. I love how this all like came together. I mentioned how like organic the storytelling is, and how we go from like point A to point B so fluidly is really so almost at like a breakneck acceleration, right? Just because of how intensely everything takes off once we hit the road in Greetings from the Maglev. But I like how the creative like story like behind this was very similar, right? It was very like, like there was like you met some people at a random job and these relationships that you built, and then all of a sudden everything just kind of came together. Like I keep saying organically. We should do a drinking game. Every time I say organically, someone drink and no one go to the hospital though.
I would be dead. Organically.
But I like how this came together, and I mentioned to Adam earlier that the timing for the Kickstarter release is pretty good, because John Lee is a friend of the show. He's been on several times. I love that dude to death, and I very much am obsessed with the Nasty, as are so many other comic book people, right? But there's a lot of people talking about the Nasty from Vault and Adam's art in the Nasty, and with all that like good press, right? And you guys come out and you're like, hey, how about this comic that's like almost 7 years in the making, coming out from a different color? I mean, it's just kind of like it all kind of worked together. It's very, very cool to watch it all, come together piece by piece. And then you got the project we love on the strong launch day, which is always a nice Kickstarter badge of honor, which I still have no idea how they decide on who gets that. Like some people will get like a handful of backers day one and they're like, you're a project we love. And then some people get like thousands of dollars day one, and Kickstarter's like, no one gives a fuck about you. And so it's just but regardless, it's still very, very cool to get it. It's from a marketing standpoint, it's always good. And then the website shows you off in more areas and stuff. So it's a good thing to get. Where did you guys get in touch with Invader? Like, how did Invader come into this into play with all this?
So I think 2020, like the summer of 2020, I think Mike from Invader was still called 216 or 215.
215,
yeah, 215. And he posted something on Twitter that was like, hey, if anyone has a pitch, or it was more like if you have a concept, send it at me and I'll critique your concept for a comic, something like that. And I had this other comic I had made myself called The Toughs. And I had like a nice like 4-image scene that I'd made. Like it was 8 pages because I was drawing 2 pages together. Okay. But I was like, this little scene in the middle of the book, is perfect for the tone. It has a bunch of jokes in it. And it looks nice on a Twitter post because it's just 4 images, but it was like 8 pages, and it was like a complete little beginning and end moment in this story. And so I responded to his tweet with that, and he wrote back immediately and was like, hey, I make comics, we should talk. And I was like, yeah, sure, buddy, we all make comics, I get it. Like, okay. And he's like, no, he's like, let's meet. And it was like, I went to his Twitter page and I realized he was in Berkeley, and I was 15 minutes from Berkeley, 20 minutes from Berkeley at the time. And I was like, why don't I, instead of sending you this comic, why don't we just meet? Why don't we hang out? And so we got together. It was the like height of quarantine. It was the middle of summer. So it was like 105 degrees in the Bay Area. And it was, that's when all the fires started that year in California. Oh, wow. And so it was just like, so we couldn't go inside because of quarantine. And so we met outside at this like cafe, like kind of in the middle of us. And it was like terrible. Like everyone's wearing masks. Everyone's scared to be around anybody. No one's going inside. It's 100 degrees outside at like 11. And the air was like full of smoke. And we're just like, fuck, this is terrible. Like, this is not so, nothing happened that day. But we just kind of hung out. We talked comics for a while, and I think I sent him the projects I had. One of the projects I sent him was Greetings from the Maglev. And he's like, all right, let's figure it out. And then I think some time passed, and when he was doing the switch over to Invader, when he was changing everything to Invader, he called me up and he's like, hey, I'm still interested. Maybe we could do something. And he's like, I know you've got stuff already made and ready to go. He's like, let me see if I can work it in. And then this year, I think about March or April, he hit me up, and I think the Nasty had just started to come out. And he's like, all right, we've got a spot. He's like, I know you've got something already made. He's like, let's do it. And he's like, send me stuff. And so I sent him Greetings from Maglev again, and it was off to the races. So I've been in touch with Mike since summer of 2020.
Nice.
It just came together this year.
I got my job very, very similar. Like, Mike's the main one on the Invader social medias. And so like I quit my job. I quit my day job because it was very toxic and I had a panic attack. And like, I thought I'm 37, right? So I never had a panic attack before. So I think I'm having a heart attack, right? Because I'm a big dude. I don't live healthily and I don't live that organic lifestyle.
Oh God.
Okay. Yeah, all right. But I quit my job. I was unemployed, and a couple people came to me, and because the podcast and live stream stuff was doing okay, right? And they were like, what if you took this as like a chance, like dumped your all into it, like made this like your day job, see if you can make something come of it. And I was like, okay, whatever. Yeah, let's monetize.
Yeah, we all make
Blake's
comics.
Buzz.
I get it, man.
Yeah. and I was like, okay. But then I was like, shit, maybe, things happen. I do think things happen for a reason sometimes. Right. So things start changing. I start doing live streams like several times a week. It becomes way easier when you don't work when you don't have like your typical 8-9 hour during the day, and then you get off work at night, and then you're like, fuck, I gotta talk to these weirdos. No, and it's which you guys are probably thinking about me simultaneously, but
no,
never.
We're lovely.
But so I kind of was like tried to start doing that, and then some people, I ended up kind of like thinking about doing like PR work because everybody's told me that. They're like, dude, you're a fucking hype machine. Like they're like, I've bought tons of books because of like watching your show or listening to you talk about it. And I was like, okay. And then on a random tweet, someone was like, what would you consider a dream job? And I was like, lately it would be, I was like, I think being a publicist for like a cool publisher for like indie comics. I was like, I think that'd be a really killer job. And like a day later, Mike's in my inbox and he's like quote tweeting the tweet that I posted. And he was like, dream job, huh? You want to try it out in Invader? And I was like, what? Are you fucking serious? And then we had a couple meetings and talked numbers, and they got the guys brought me on the team. So yeah, very, very similar to cool. Mike, just like Mike pulling the fucking, being the puppeteer, like behind all this stuff, and yeah, like I said, it's been, I think I really do like what they're doing. They put out some really, they're not afraid to, they're like you guys, they're not afraid to take risks. They're not afraid to like publish weird stuff that like maybe some people wouldn't necessarily be interested in, which is also interesting because everything I've read by them, I'm like, how the fuck could people not be interested in this? Right. But they do have an eye for like, for good art, for off the wall storytelling, and just things that aren't very similar to what's going on typically in comic book shops right now, which I think Greetings from the Maglev is like totally nailing all those points, right? Like I love Adam's art, but it's a little bit different than what we see, like it's different even than like the art Adam is making now. Like he's evolved a little bit, but it's still like you can't look away from it. It's like very very akin to like what's going on in these pages. It's like a gorgeous fucking car wreck, right? That you're like rubbernecking if you drive by it, right? You're like you can't look away from it. And I love the way you both handle violence, like in the script and how you kind of use that to empower your female lead, which I love a great dose of heroin, right? That's like pun intended, but like no, but like I just I love strong female characters, and it's still we're still in that environment where like some cheese dick motherfuckers can't get past that, right? And they're just like what, like and the way you draw Chris is different too, right? She's not wearing like spandex and underwear, like she doesn't fight crime in a thong, or her tits aren't hanging out, right? You've drawn her more in a sense conservatively than other like hero comics or just comics in general, and like that cater to the male gaze, and so like it's just you guys are doing a lot of things differently to stand out above like what's on the shelf. And I think, like I said, like I think people are really going to see this, both the Kickstarter backers and once this hits the direct market in September 6th, by the way. If you guys, for some reason, if you don't want to get the awesome exclusive cover that we're going to show off in just a second and back this Kickstarter campaign, which is very fairly priced, and as we mentioned, a project we love, you should back this campaign. If for some reason you want to wait and buy it from your comic shop, you can pre-order it later, but you only get that main cover. If you want the exclusive cover, that's Kickstarter only, and you get like a cool metal bookmark. I think you guys are going to do some stretch goals with some buttons. I heard about lately that might happen.
Got some goodies.
So yeah, like get the goodies. I guess this is the best segue as any to bring up the Kickstarter page and show this off. So yeah, right now just broke that $2,000 stretch goal. We got 68 hours left, so we are in the final few days of this. There's that project we love badge that we all know so well. And I love that. Hell will always be in the rear view. Like I just, they say it's like cars and horses are like really hard to draw, right? Supposedly for an artist.
Yeah.
And all you did was like, there's so many cars in both
Dude, hold
cars
on.
from like everywhere.
The third chapter of this, the third chapter of this, I've been putting off since I finished the second chapter in 2017 because it's all cars. Like it's just.
I thought I was going to say it's all horses. They're like, they ditched the cars for horses. Like,
yeah,
I'm never going to work with Mark again.
The horses.
John Lees doesn't make me draw horses, so not one.
Yeah.
No, the third book is entirely just car on car on car violence. It is just this scene in the opening of the first book is a flashback to the third book.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then here's some of this art, like
the first 3 pages of the book are
yeah. What's ahead?
So there's going to be 3 parts. So you guys have 1 and 2 done, right? Like art and everything's done for chapter 2 as well.
So the second one still needs to be lettered. And I should mention real quick, the first one is lettered by Letter Squids. He did a fucking amazing job. Like the lettering is so it's so animated, amazing, it's so kind of alive on the page. Yeah. But we have the second one written and drawn and inked. We need to get that lettered. And then the third one, we have it written? Question mark?
It's there.
That's to you, buddy.
It's
there's a draft. There's a draft folder. It's
completed. We just need to fine tune it. Just get into like okay. Here's what we're gonna draw. Here's what we're gonna write. The dialogue is all done. The script is all done. I know we know how to get Chris from A to B. We just gotta wrap it up. But look at Adam's just like design projects of like it's again just starting this process, having never done a book before. Just you kind of create this world in your head, and then you like just send like a brief description of what you think it looks like, and then Adam will send back like this and be like, hey, what do you like? Here's what I created in my brain of like what I think the station would look like. And I go, oh my God, I nowhere near what I was imagining, because I just imagined a little box, but you created like a world on a world on a world of like what it would look like, who designs it, why would it look like this? And it's just, I was blown away. I felt the epitome of imposter syndrome, where I was like, I just wrote like some scribbly words, but then you created a whole beautiful world. I was like, I don't deserve this.
Hey, that's the kind of artist you want on a project, though. Let me read this solicit real quick so that people can know kind of what we're talking about. I don't know if I have a cool movie theater voice or movie trailer. I always say movie theater when I mean movie trailer. So here, let me see. Gasoline is a thing of the past. Once it was revealed that the government had been withholding how desperately depleted our resources were, society seemed to dismantle overnight. In an effort to keep our country moving forward, our nation's corporations united and created the Maglev. Using revolutionary technology, the Maglev is a massive solar-powered superhighway utilizing magnetic roadways. Unfortunately, the only ones capable of using it are those who can afford to, and those who hijack their way in, the rich and the wild. But who cares about all that? This is a story about good old-fashioned revenge. So back this motherfucker, ladies and gentlemen, because it's worth your money. Ow! If that doesn't get you guys rich, I don't know what will.
That's what we've been needing.
Awesome.
Where were you?
Yeah,
I've been here forever, man. No, I'm the single friend of the love interest in the sad romantic comedy. Where have you been all my life? I've been right here. You blind bastard. No. Here's Chris Miles, the main character of the story, who's like a bodyguard handler, sort of, not really like a hit woman, right? But like not opposed to murder and violence in any way. Very like, I love how Fury Road this is as well, right? I mentioned it's like that Rick and Morty vibe, but there's also like there's a very Mad Maxian nod to all of this as well, right? Except maybe not as bad as Mad Max, right? Like this is like a couple decades before Mel Gibson comes out and like takes the world by storm. Because they're not
like Mad Max 1.
Okay,
it's like the first.
Society is still
one.
somewhat there. Yeah, but not
but
quite on level 2
sure.
yet. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, basically she has to babysit a rich kid who's taking a ride on the Maglev, and the surrounding territories don't take kindly to that, and they all start gunning for this kid, and unfortunately to get to the kid, they got to get through Chris Miles, and Chris Miles is not an easy barrier to get across. And I love that so much. Like seriously, I was obsessed with her, like her like that punchy, mean, like fuck you, I don't care dialogue, and like, and then I love to, like, I don't want to spoil anything, but like at the end we see like a change in her where she's like, I'm done with this life, and like she goes home, right, and she's gardening, and she's like finally able to like be herself. Which you guys so callously just ripped that rug right out from under her feet, right? Which was going to propel us into the second graphic novel, right? So it's like, there are no happy endings in comics, even when there are happy endings, right? There's always that kind of what if. But I'd love. I'm so excited to see. She wasn't even that mad when she's like just slaughtering and like through this main part of part 1, right? She's like, this is just my job, but now she's fucking pissed. She's been screwed over. She's mad. What does she say? She's like, I'm gonna kill you bloody, and I'm like, boom! Like that's such a good line. Such a good line of dialogue, right? Like, I'm not just gonna kill you. It's gonna be bad for you. Like you're gonna wish you just died. Like, I'm gonna draw this out. Like every Bond terrorist, like before the intense like interrogation scene, right? They're like, Mr. Bond, this is gonna be very unpleasant. And she's like very much that kind of vibe, but not as proper and a little more gritty. And I'm just so stoked. Like there's 2 more parts to this, and these are 90-page like graphic novels, right? So this is like, it's not just 1 or 2 more issues, right? This is like 3-4 issues.
Like the books themselves are like at least 1 and 2 are about 60 pages each. But there's I think in this book, and I think I'm planning for the second one, there's still 10. There's a back matter story, and then there's a bunch of extra pages and extra drawings we put in. So I think it came out to about 80 pages in the end, but the story itself is about 60. I think actually the first 2 are exactly 60.
Okay. Well, that's so like, so that's like almost 3 almost 3 issues of comics in one deal. I love the original graphic novel. Like as someone who like reviews comics and even as a consumer standpoint, right? Like, I love singles too, and reading these things month to month, but when you read a lot of books, right, you kind of forget sometimes month to month. Sometimes you got to go back and check stuff out. And then when you're covering them, when you're writing stuff about them, you got to be real careful not to spoil anything. And, sometimes writing like 500-600 words for a 22-page comic, it gets a little tricky sometimes, right? Because you're either going to you just worry about saying too much. But when you guys give us like an original graphic novel, right? Like you can like dive into it a little bit more. You can talk about more of what's going on. Maybe you can spoil a minor scene, right? And that won't be like a huge spoiler as opposed to like the context of what the readers will get as the finished product. So just from like a press standpoint, like I love the original graphic novel, and I think I think in the end they end up being a little cheaper and stuff for just the consumer aspect too. You know, you're not, especially when it's like a Kickstarter comic, you start paying for shipping, things like that. You know, it's just like when you get like a bigger chunk to deal with, it makes that a little bit more enticing. But yeah, here's look at these pages, like these fucking pages. Oh my God. Like this book is just so, I remember when I first started reading this, I was like, I didn't know what to think of it. Like I was like digging it, but I was just like, I don't know if I've seen stuff like this before, which is funny because I love the nasty, and you know, we've had some people post like when we were sharing art and promoing for Invader, and like a couple of Adams fans were like, I knew that was Adams art looking at it, and I was like, I sure did. I'm like cool. Like I'm glad I'm glad. Thank you for reminding me. I'm a poor reader. But
dude, I don't even know that's my work.
But I mean, yeah, just you're getting like 60 pages of this just violent chaos and of wonder, and like great, like I said, great punchy, mean, aggravated dialogue. Like I'm being violent. These tiny little moments like this, they work so well. I also love, this is all I'll say, I love the bonus story about one of the characters.
So it's about this guy. You're on his page right now.
Yeah.
The
guy getting thrown through the window.
Yeah. Of all the callbacks, like such a genius callback. But yeah, and I think so. Like, here's Adam living dad life right now. And then here's Mark. And then here's the new cover. Well, here's your cover A. This is what you'll get from like the comic book shops and stuff if you pre-order that. And then here is the special Kickstarter variant, which you can get only through this campaign. And when this campaign ends in less than 70 hours, this cover is gone. Like you're not going to be able to get it. I don't care. I don't care if you show up to an Invader booth at a con. You're not going to get it. It's not happening. You want this cover, you have to back this Kickstarter and use that link I posted earlier. And so yeah, it's and I love this cover. Really showcases Adam's art. A lot of the crazy characters we see in this comic, the new age like Americana vibe. It's just there's a very all-encompassing, smart image for a cover. I really love this variant.
It's awesome.
So yeah, you guys should. I mean, I could keep telling you, someone's gonna listen to me eventually. Back this book because it's fucking good. And then here's kind of here's $8 digital, which by the way for 60 plus pages with back matter, $8, like that's a fucking steal. This is a steal, $19. Like and then you get I love that Maglev bookmark is metal, right? It's gonna be, I love the Invader metal bookmarks. That's something special they do for their Kickstarter backers, that you always get like the metal bookmark included. As someone who reads multiple books at once, like I'm always looking for a good bookmark, right? And even when you find like when you get like a cool trading card or something, like if you use them a lot, the corners get nicked. So, I don't know, maybe you set them in maybe you set them where your drink was sitting and you set them in a little wet ring on the table or some shit. These metal things will live forever. They'll live. they're gonna be around. So I love the metal bookmarks that they do, which you can get, and then you can get both covers, a print, everything for that. That's your $39 tier. You can get some real art for a crazy fucking price. So many people don't realize this about Kickstarter, about how the sketches and art that you can get through Kickstarter campaigns is usually wildly cheaper than if you went to a table at a con or ordered through a website. And I've been trying to remind people about that too. Like plus like I mean, I feel like this time next year, like Adam's going to be charging like double or triple. He's going to be back. He's going to be back to those fucking art gallery prices, right? I mean, he's getting a lot of attention, and it's well deserved right now. But it's always interesting when you see these indie guys like start to take off, right? And they'll be like, oh yeah, buy a book from my shop. I'll remark it for like $20, and they do this like crazy thing for 20 bucks, right? And then like 2 years later, they're like Jim Lee, they're drawing a Batman profile in 25 seconds and charging $300 for it. Hey, you do it. Like if you work, like when your hard work pays off and you get there, like do it. I support that. But again, a really great price to get some Adam Cahoon original art, which, you know, I don't think you'll be able to find a price like that elsewhere. And then Risk and Jet's all just the boring stuff and blah blah blah. So that's it. Like, this is the Kickstarter page. It's a beautiful book, guys. It's not, you know, it's not just beautiful. It's a little bit mean. It's a little bit mean. It's a little bit raw. It's a little bit raunchy, right? It makes me, you know, it talks like I talk, has a filthy fucking mouth, and I love it. And I love that. You know, like I said earlier, you know, it's you guys aren't scared to tell your own kind of story. You guys aren't scared to be like, hey, let's make a comic book that we want. Fuck what the market wants. Fuck what other people think we should want. Like, this is my idea, and I want to make that happen. And again, why I love Invader is because they find you guys like that, and they're like, we want that too. Let's make that happen. And I know obviously you guys won't throw them under the bus, but I mean, you guys are like, is working with them like. On your working with them on my side's been really nice, but like, do you guys feeling good about it too? No pressure. I'm sure all three of the guys are watching right now.
It's just, they're in the room with you.
Yeah. They're behind me. They're hiding behind the Batman cutout.
Yeah,
what did you say, sir?
It's just been easy. Like they're kind of taking all of the work out of this work.
Yeah.
Like they're excited and they're enthusiastic and supportive, and they just made the whole process streamlined. Like, just feels like a really easy thing.
Yeah, the missing piece that Adam and I needed, of just like this book just sitting in a drawer, you know, waiting to be put out into the world. And then y'all came along and were like, okay, here's what you were missing clearly, because now we will bring you over the finishing line. We were like, oh, thank you. Like, please drag us, help us get this book out there.
I still can't, like, when I heard that you guys had been working on this for a while, and this had been like an endeavor that, you know, like, you know, the art was done, the first draft of part 1 was done, and now part 2 as well, almost. But like, I kind of figured, I almost figured that you guys, the crowd funded it like yourselves, or had like a smaller campaign, and then tried to, like, you know, maybe bringing it back to try and do the direct market. But to just, it's crazy you guys have been like sitting on this for so long, like, because it is really good. And like I mean, it's still very pertinent, right? Like, it feels very now, feels very relevant. So like, I guess that means the world has just been shit, and we've all been expecting that, like, for the last decade, basically, right? It's like we ruined the planet, we get it, life sucks, guns everywhere, violence everywhere. It's our life. It's never going to change. But no, it just feels very relevant to now. It doesn't feel like something that was written 6 years ago. So like there's a timelessness here, right? That I think will, of course, carry on to the future as we ruin more and more resources of the planet, and slowly as this slowly begins to turn into nonfiction as the decades progress.
Yeah, I think every time there's an article about like a magnetic highway, Adam will send me a link. He's like, oh, it's happening.
It's happening. Japan's onto us, man.
They hacked our script.
If someone bought the rights to this and wanted to make it like a movie or TV show on some big streaming network, which I guess troublesome question with everything going on right now with the strikes and stuff, but, you know, assuming all that,
nothing.
Yeah, assuming like, you know, these fucking rich assholes like pay out like that won't make any difference to their lifestyles at all, and just pay these people what they're worth. But like when you guys look at Chris Miles, any actor like around, like, who would you imagine? Would it be like when you see her in your head, like would it be like someone like that we would recognize, or would you guys want to like go like dive into the acting pools and like find like some random, like, no one's ever seen her before, and like who do you see like when you think of Chris Miles on the screen?
Mark, you want to take this one?
Thought about that. I mean, it was hard not to think of Zazie Beetz after Deadpool 2.
Ooh,
just like just badass hair, just tough, not taking any shit, just kind of like, no, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Everything's gonna work out. No, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, you know, just like that cool. And just, all right, I've been a big fan of her career for a while, so it's kind of hard not to see her sometimes. But yeah, just finding someone who's just new and out there, who's like the embodiment of just tough, not giving a shitness would be the dream come true.
Yeah. I could go for this ass factor too, though. Like I'd be
I
all
like
about
that choice
that
a lot.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be sick. Atlanta's one of my like favorite shows ever.
Same here.
She's like emotionally badass in that show, right? Like she's like a different level of like threatening and intimidation in Atlanta. She's such a powerful actor and just like commands every. She would fucking rock the Maglev on a silver screen. I'd be all about that. Let's make it happen. I know she watches the show a lot, so we'll try and
great. Big fan. Thanks for tuning in. No, I mean I love Chris. Yeah, we tried so hard to like, being two dudes who were creating a female character to like not fall into all the pit traps that men will fall into when creating a woman character. I remember talking about this like San Diego a couple years ago to a woman friend, producer of mine, who was kind of like, I was like doing beat by beat what Chris's journey would be, and she was kind of like, wow, I am surprised that this never happened to her, because every guy that writes a woman will have this happen to her. I'm surprised this didn't happen to her. I'm surprised this, like, you somehow dodged every shitty thing that men do when every shitty thing that you do to women when you create a woman. I was like, well, Adam and I have been reading comics forever. We've been watching every kind of action movie you can ever imagine. We're in it. We're trying not to do the shitty things that people do. We just want to create an awesome character who happens to be woman. She's badass.
Some people can just be strong. They don't need a cry over me fucking backstory of fucking like throat stopping trauma, right? Like you don't need to make us want to kill ourselves with your character's backstory, right? It doesn't. You don't have to do that all the time. And that's another thing I love about that. And like, it's so interesting that you guys made this in like so early in your careers, because like you do so like Mark just mentioned, you do so many things right. Okay. You interwove like, how we get to know Chris, not through her words, but through her actions, right? Her actions speak so clearly. And then because of Adam, like they don't just speak clearly, they fucking leap out of the panel and then jump kick you in the jaw and then fucking hop back to the next panel. And then, and you're like, what hit me in the face? And it's just, that's how every page of this comic book reads. It flies out at you. There's a lot of magic elements in comic books, one of them being the collaborative effort that it takes a village, right, to produce one idiot. And no, I'm done. That was a joke. But the way like great comics and through art and dialogue and plot beats and tension, right, and it's these images don't move, they stand there, and you guys have to between the script and Adam and his art and panel progression and layouts and stuff, like, through the gutter, you have to make our minds travel, and you have to, and so like to turn these static images into something fluid that moves and lives and breathes and fights, right? And not just fights, but fights ferociously. Like this book, it does that really, really well. And it's such a joy to read. Like it's so fun. And I like Adam puts so many little details in. Like I'm really excited to go back and read it again later, right? Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of little moments and little details, especially once we get like future part 2, part 3 reasons to like go back and check stuff out. I feel like there's going to be a lot of moments that you guys, Easter eggs, whatever you want to call them. There's going to be a lot of callbacks and nods. There's going to be a comic book worth reading again and again, right? So, not only is it priced fairly on Kickstarter, not only is it priced fairly in the direct market, this is a book that you're going to get that you're going to want to experience again. That you're going to read it, you're going to be like fuck, and then you're going to tell your friends about it, and then later you're going to be like, man, everything out there is fucking boring. I'm going to read Maglev again, right? And so like that's just my thoughts. What do I know? I'm just comic book press. I don't know. but I just, it's so cool that you guys did this, like, so early in your comic book careers, like just really coming out, batting 1,000. Yeah. You're nailing it. And so like, kudos to kudos to both of you. Like, you did something really special here, and I'm very proud to, you know, be at Invader at a time where I get to help promote something cool like this. Like, you know, it's exciting. It's exciting for me too, and it's my show, so I get to bring things back to me and make it about me. And, but for real, I mean, it's very, very cool to see, and you know, it's even more exciting to, you know, like with Nasty out right now, and then, like, you know, like, Mark, I don't know if you got anything. Like, I mean, I know you, every time I say this on the show, it's like, well, I can't announce anything now. Next week I will, when I'm not on your show. And, you know, this weekend at SDCC, I'm going to announce my new image book. Can't talk about that yet. But it's I'm excited for both of your futures, right? You both seem like really good people. You're excited about comics. You're kind to your fans. You know, and the industry needs more guys like you, and not only that, you guys both tell good stories.
Yeah, more white guys.
Yes. More.
Sweet.
All right, I mean,
cut that. This is live, right?
Oh shit, this is live. No.
Oh shit.
No, that is a problem, but also, like, but you guys aren't shitty white guys, at least not that I know. I mean, I guess you guys could, like, not tip and be really fucking assholes, like, behind the scenes. But you're a good actor if that's the case. You're right. Like, I don't think that's the case, ladies and gentlemen.
Our friends are really great people, so I think the testament of any person is how good their friends are and the people who support them and help them. And I think we, you know, all the people who have already chipped into the Kickstarter, all the people who keep retweeting and sharing and showing stuff on Instagram, just some of the best people out there in the world. And they're, you know, I'm like surprised that, like, I am horrible at promoting myself. So the fact that you all are doing that really helps. But then whenever I do retweet something, I'm like, you know, here's the thing. But then, like, you know, of course, all the people in my life who I care about, who will share it and retweet it and comment and post about it. People in the comments right now, like my buddy Steve was there helping out, like, you know, good people. Yeah. Talking about Adam's style. You can kind of see again, from, man, like,
Adam's just everybody's all about Adam today. Fuck, like, Adam
well,
and mustache. Those are the hot topics of tonight's episode. No. But yeah, like I mentioned, like, if you look at the Nasty right now, his art does look a little bit different. But, like, I don't want to degrade any, like, I don't mean it as an insult. I don't mean that the art, like, your earlier art is, like, lesser than, but it, like, I love it. I love this, like, grittier, meaner, kind of weirder Adam Cahoon, and it's all black and white. We just get to, like, experience that raw and amazing line work, like Steve has noticed.
Well, I mean, part of what, I mean, obviously part of this is that my style is evolving because, you know, this was the first comic I've made, and now this, you know, now I'm on the Nasty, and this is, you know, 7 years later of me learning how to draw comics, sort of. But also, like, I do try to focus on the story itself and sort of what I can do within that world that kind of brings something new to it. So I wouldn't necessarily, I'm never going to approach, you know, the two different scripts the same way, you know, because Mark's voice is different than John's voice. And so, and also, you know,
John's a lot harder to understand because of his accent. For one. I love him, but sometimes when he's on the show, he gets going, and I'm like, I'm like, dude, John, I'm trying, man. Like,
what's his accent? I'm not familiar.
He's Scottish.
Yeah, he's Scottish.
Very Scottish.
And it's not like when he's talking, it's totally easy. But when he gets excited and speeds up a little bit, it's like okay, bud. Like Johnny, I love you, man. But and I usually just go with it. I pick up, like, a couple words here and there. But no, like, I love having him on the show, and he's another guy. He's so excited for comics. And he's just so excited to be here, and he's cool. And he's been around the industry for a while too, and I would very much argue, like, I think he deserves a lot more respect and a lot more renown than he has.
It's coming.
I feel so too. Yeah, but it's, you know, he's just so very humble and fun and in love with this industry, and I feel now I know why the Nasty's so good, Adam, because that's, you guys have that kind of vibe. You're like, you know, this isn't where you necessarily planned, like, your art career to go, right? But I feel like there's no real regrets here either, right? You're like, I didn't think this was going to happen, but I kind of fucking love that it did, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
nice.
Like before, like, you know, when I was young, I just drew comics and cartoons, and then sort of somewhere around high school, I got into painting and had to throw comic books away. But then, you know, so that was already there. Like, there was already, like, a foundation of that. kind of just buried. And so when I started doing that again, it had been, a huge amount of time had gone by. But when I started doing that again, I already had some frame of reference for who I was as an artist. But yeah, I definitely didn't plan this. It's all Mark's fault.
Sorry,
it's on a different path.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah. Us and a lot of people that are big fans of Adam, like really owe you some gratitude. Like, I'm glad. And like Mark, the same with you, man. Like, I love the way you script and write dialogue, and like you handle tension really well. And you just it's again, when you were talking earlier about this, like you were like, no, I met this guy and he kind of explained like the 3-act structure and like how to do this, and I was like, okay, I'll try that. And it's just like, fuck you, dude. Like, if both of you were just like, I'll just try this and then totally fucking nail it. Like, I'm just gonna drop a platinum record off this deal I recorded in my garage with my 2 best friends, or like, what the hell, man?
Let's see what this comic book creating is all about. Let's give this a whirl. Huh?
Let's just give this a whirl, right? No, I mean,
well, thank you, I appreciate that.
I mean it totally, and you're very welcome. But yeah, it's if this is where it starts, and I know that 7-year wait was probably hard, and maybe messed with your guys' minds a little bit too, about like, we made this thing, is it ever going to happen, what are we going to do with it, or like that gets stressful too. And I'm really glad that you guys just pushed with it and persevered and found footing in this industry, and are now you're going to come out strong, and not even just strong. You're doing a Kickstarter book right now, but later that book's going to be in comic book shops. So like, this book can be pre-ordered, and you'll be able to walk into a shop on a Wednesday and see it on a shelf. You'll eventually be able to buy it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Like, it's like you guys have made a real graphic novel that, like, people are going to be able to experience all over. And I hope you keep doing it. I really do, because you both got I don't know if anyone's told you this before, you both got a pretty good knack for it, and stay there. Don't go back to the frame shop. Don't go back to the art gallery. Like,
well, I have those nightmares.
Definitely.
Putting my little apron back on, like.
Dude, I have the same thing now that I like live that freelance life. I'm always like so scared, like a client's gonna fire me, or I'm gonna have to go, like, I mean, I guess I could find other freelance work. I wouldn't necessarily have to go back to a day job, but it's weird when you start doing something you really love and it's totally different than anything you've done before, and that fear that lives in the back of your mind that's like, am I gonna be able to do this forever, or is this just like a short is this just a short-term blip in the clusterfuck of my existence, where like the universe is
before you're waiting tables again.
Good, yeah, right. Yeah, like, guess what, Blake? You're going back to being a bouncer and taking fake IDs from college kids and getting punched in the face every now and then. Like, that's just what's gonna happen. No,
Harrison Ford, I hope you enjoyed Star Wars, but go back to that carpeting. Right? Put that door together. Those tables aren't going to build themselves, buddy.
That's exactly. Now, I did have one question about we were talking about the nasty. Adam, is this how many issues is it? Is it a mini, a maxi? Is it an ongoing? Have they they announced that yet?
You mean so it's going to be 8 issues. So this arc is 8 issues, and it's what's that?
4 just came out, 4 or 5?
4 is coming out next week.
Okay, I'm jumping ahead. Okay, so 4 is about to come out.
Yeah, 4 is about to come out. 3 is come out. Okay. 4 is about to come out. And then there's going to be a month, I think, a month break between issues. And then it'll be 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then that's the story as it's written now. There is some opening in the end of it if we want to do another one, or if Vault wants to do more with it. But yeah, right now it's slated for 8 issues. And
you having fun? You having fun at Vault? They seem like cool people.
Yeah, dude, it's been awesome. They're great. It's nice. It's the same as with Invader. They're just really supportive and really energetic, and they're obviously a little bit bigger of a machine, so things just, I don't know. It's just been a really nice experience working with them as well.
How'd you meet John? Like, how did that team come to be?
So the long way around, per usual. I met DB Andre at a convention in San Jose, and he wrote Resonant. He's got End After End right now, and I gave him the Tufts, and he and I, I bought the Resonant from him, and we both kind of fell in love with each other, with each other's work, and so we kept in touch, and we worked on a pitch together that went nowhere, and then I was talking to him about doing design work and how I just wanted to do. I mostly just wanted to do logos for comics.
Oh, really?
And so then he put me in touch
a lot
with
of money
Tim.
in that.
He put me in touch with Tim Daniel, who's the head of design over at Vault. And then Tim and I worked on a bunch of logo design projects together. And then the Nasty was being made. I think the first 2 issues were mostly done. But the original artist on that was kind of falling behind on. He had some health issues and some other projects going on. And so they brought me into, it takes place in a video store in the 90s. And so they brought me in to design some posters for the background of the shop, just kind of to fill out some of his backgrounds. And I did that and turned those in. And then they offered me a variant cover, just as kind of like a, thanks for helping us out. And I turned that cover in, and then they're kind of each week that went by, I was turning stuff in, and they're like, okay, do you want more of a project? Do you want more of this project? And then eventually that artist had to drop out after he was done drawing issue 2, and they were like, do you want to just draw the whole thing? And so then you were like, no, I just happened to be, I was like, yeah, that's why we're here. And so I didn't actually get in touch with John until kind of around that time, I think.
Oh wow.
And it was just John and I. It was off to the races immediately. It was just real. That relationship was quick.
He's an infectious dude, man. He can get you excited for anything.
Yeah.
He makes me want to swim,
happy.
And I hate cardio. I'm like, man, maybe I could swim across the channel in a Speedo too, John. No,
he's swimming out in the wild in Scotland. It's fucking cold. It's not an indoor pool in California.
Yeah. He's not in a gym. He's swimming.
Awesome.
He's swimming from one piece of earth to another with no in betweens. And then when he gets to the other piece of earth, it's like a historical tower from way back. There's not even a hot shower for him there. He's just hanging out, getting lunch, hopping back in his wetsuit. He's crazy. I love him.
Can I fanboy real quick though?
You
that
fanboy
cover to issue 5, Adam. That cover is just
for the
coolest thing ever. Oh yeah.
Thank you, man.
Oh.
Thank you. Yeah, that was that's the best thing I've done to date, I think. I was really happy with the way that one came out.
When you tweeted that out, I was like, oh, what is this? What is this brilliance? This is beautiful. It's great. I'm looking at it right now and just Adam, man, God, you monster.
Oh, thank you. So that one
being so good.
You can't in the one they're printing, you can't see it, but in the original drawing,
is this it?
You can see all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So in the original drawing, you can see all 4 of the main characters are dying somewhere on his back. So I think just below the Y, you can see Thumper's head. He's I think he's underwater, drowning. I don't know if you guys can. I don't know why I'm pointing to my screen. You can't fucking see what I'm pointing at.
This isn't NCIS. I can't just be enhance. Yeah. I wish I had that computer.
I think
no, that's a beautiful cover,
right below where your cursor was. Yeah. That one was a lot of fun.
I wish. I don't know if I can. Can I zoom in? I don't even know. I've never used this technology.
Enhance.
Yeah.
It's doing weird shit, but it's not. It's just making the borders bigger.
Oh yeah.
It makes a lot. StreamYard. Yeah. Oh wait, here. This part's bigger now, though. Here, let's see.
Yeah.
There he is.
So right below the Y, one of those lily pads is Thumper's face, and he's drowning in that pond.
Wow.
And then you can't tell because I think the logo covers up most of it, but there's 3 other characters that are drowning or dying in that swamp too.
Did you do this logo or did Tim? Or did you?
No, that was Tim. That was Tim.
Yeah, Tim.
He did the logo. The logo was done before I even came on board.
Oh, that's because you came on like around the second. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
because that would have been weird.
Second issue, yeah.
You should that would that would have been a hardcore play though. Be like, I'll do this if you change. Like, I want the Adam Cahoon logo. You'd be like,
yeah,
I don't know, but how much do you want my art vault? Like,
yeah,
just come in strong arm everybody right away. You know,
John
said,
like,
day of prison, just knock over everybody's table. Yeah.
Now what's it like doing like, these kind of deadlines as opposed to like working with Mark, and you get with Mark you have like this bigger project and a little bit more time, but now you're like segmented with different deadlines, different cover deadlines, different interior deadlines. Like
here's my script. Let's check Mark, back in 8 years.
I don't know what the opposite of a deadline is, but it's working with Mark. It was just like, dude, I added pages. I added entire pages to the script. I was like, okay, I think I need a spread here. I think I need to spread this out. I think I need to make this like stretch a little bit. I'm not adding shit to the nasty. There's no time. It's just like, I just got to hit those panels. I'm getting up, I get up at 6 every morning because my daughter usually doesn't wake up till like 9, just to like, bake in 3 hours every day, and then try to like a fiend, try and get extra minutes throughout the day.
How old's your daughter?
Because those deadlines are 3.5.
Okay, so so it's not like
it's
let me make you breakfast and turn the TV on. You got shit to do.
Yeah, I could do that for a minute. That'll should report the TV right away. But yeah, it's all like just go until I think my last deadline is September 22nd. And it's like I have to hit my pages every week. I have to like be at a certain rate every couple days.
Wow.
So it's all deadline and structure. But I love that. Like
Oh, you do?
I kind of need. Yeah, that does something creatively to me. Where I'm just like, it's just there's no like you can't. The canvas is concise, right? You have so much space on each page. You have to hit those marks every time, and you have to hit them by a certain date. It's just like something in my brain turns on. Like something is just like, okay, just go do the work. Don't overthink it. Don't overplay it. Just it's like solving riddles every day. It's not a lot of like ethereal art making and hanging out and seeing what happens. Like I'm not waiting for a muse. I'm not waiting for inspiration. It's just like, this is the assignment. Do the assignment. Just solve this problem for today.
You heard it here, folks. Adam Cahoon doesn't need a fucking muse. He's just in it to win it, baby. It's all rock and all roll all the time.
That's right. Yeah, dude.
That's so cool.
I like the structures for sure.
I can see how that would, well, obviously when it's your job and a paycheck is concerned too, right? And you're like, well, this has to be done by this time, like that's going to propel you in one way, as opposed to like that old, like, and Mark, you can probably, relate to this when you're staring at that fucking cursor or that blank page in Photoshop or whatever, when you're like, when you wake up early to like work and then you're like, well, shit. And and it's like, and that well shit moment can like turn into a really long period of time, which can then turn into like grabbing your phone and watching some TikToks or watching some YouTube shorts or watching a cooking video. And then all of a sudden you got up at 7 o'clock in the morning and it's noon. You haven't done shit today. I'm not going to say that's how I work because I want people to continue to hire me, but that happens a lot. Some people, it might be me.
It's funny because now you mention it, like I think the last project Adam and I worked on was Silver Surfer Gray. I don't know if you've seen that. That kind of was floating around the internet for a little bit, but that was Adam being like, "Hey, I want to do a Silver Surfer book. It's going to be like 4 pages, 5 pages, write a script." And I remember that was also like the peak of pandemic, so that was kind of one of my more introspective, doom and gloom kind of writings, where I was like, "What is the purpose of anything?" And sometimes you just got to suffer and just get through the day. And I was like, I read it now and I'm like, oh my God, Mark, what happened, buddy? You all right? Yeah. And like Adam drew like this beautiful, track it down now, but it's on Twitter. He posted the whole thing, but it's just some of the most beautiful, like cosmic artwork that Adam, it was great. And I like look at it now and I'm like, oh man, I love that I was able to just like pull a story that I really liked and feel proud of. But having Adam be like, Five pages, right? Was it 5 pages? Silver Surfer.
I think
do something.
It turned out to be 8. I think it came out to 8.
8, okay. Yeah, and it was just having that like, do this, and I'm like, I could do that, as opposed to just like, well, what am I gonna do today? Let's what fancy little thoughts are gonna pop in my brain today? Let's see, perhaps a robot cowboy. Let's see how that goes over.
I feel like you wrote that in like a day though too. I felt like I was like, hey, I've got this idea. Can you write something for it? And I feel like you sent something back like it was a really short amount of time. Like you didn't really waver on it. You were just like,
my brain wants to write. I don't want to write. It's weird. It's, no, it's just like obviously something in here wants to be doing it, but I'm like, oh well. Too bad this sucks. I hate this, but I love it.
I do like TikTok.
TikTok is fun.
Creating is hard. It's great when it's done, right? But it is oftentimes, like exhausting and weird and then sometimes you accidentally go to those dark places, right? And then you get in there, right? You get in there and you write some hot shit, but then you got to get out of that dark place. You're like fuck. I'm like thinking of every past mistake I've made over the last 20 years now, and that just wrote some great dialogue for me. But now like I want to go eat some ice cream and cry in the darkness or something, right? Like listen to Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, we all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah. I think I wrote Maglev over the course of like maybe a week of just like,
wow,
my partner was away. I was like off from work or something. And I just sat down and I just banged out the script in a week. And I know one weekend I listened to Lady Gaga's Bad Romance, maybe 800 times in a row. Just had it on repeat. And I was like, I don't know why that one song and that one moment was exactly what I needed in the background of my head when I was writing this damn script. And now when I hear that song, I'm just like, Chris Miles.
Dude,
you
insane.
were the child of me and Lady Gaga. Bad Romance.
I'm having that exact same experience with Paramore, All I Wanted. Like there's some really good like Bonnaroo clips of her like doing All I Wanted like live and like she's just like screaming and like her screams are very melodic though, and like but like she has an amazing voice, and like but I don't know, like it like hits some feels in me, and I keep listening to that. Like I was listening to it before you guys were in the room. I was like why are you listening to music that's trying to make you fucking cry before you gotta like hype a book? But it is weird where you find inspiration in the weirdest places sometimes. Unless you're Adam, you're just like fuck inspiration. It's just in me automatically.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it, man.
the cost is too high.
So I feel like you guys have like a pretty good relationship though. So like, even after Maglev, like high probable slim possibility of you guys like doing future projects together. Like I feel like you guys like working together.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go ahead and speak. I'll go ahead and speak for Mark. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. My lawyer.
No, I would just keep making projects with Mark ad nauseum if I could. That'll be
because of the deadlines. Because you have plenty of time. To
no. I'll bring him in. I'll bring him into the deadline.
Yeah.
World.
No, he'll be the boss on that one. He'll be the project manager for sure.
Well,
absolutely. In fact, I'll tell you, when Mark hit me up to do this project originally, I think I went to my wife and brought it up with her before I said yes to him, because we all know each other. We were all working at the same frame shop, and I was like, hey, Mark just hit me up. He's got this script for a graphic novel, and I was like, it'd be a lot of work. It'd take a lot of time. And her response was like, no, that's cute. You guys should do a thing together. Like everyone involved is like, yeah. Can we just hang out and make this thing together?
Yeah,
like,
please.
Please, come on. I remember when you texted me. I don't know if you remember this. When you were like feeling me out to see if I'd want to do a graphic novel, like one of the very first things you asked me was, are you guys pregnant, or are you guys thinking of getting pregnant? And I was like, what?
Where's this going?
The fuck? Like, what are you talking about? And you were like, well, I have this graphic novel, and it's going to take a lot of your time.
Fuck, I thought you were about to invite us to a swinger party, man. Like, I thought this was a tea party.
You never know. But yeah, man, I remember you asked me that.
That's
and I'm like, that's how you approach a project. You're like, well, are you guys gonna have a child around? Because you're not gonna be able to do this.
I mean, are you thinking of producing offspring?
Yeah.
Not at the moment, Mark. Maybe in the future.
Because I've just had a vasectomy and my schedule's wide open.
Oh my God, guys, this has been. I've kept you for almost an hour and a half. I thank you so much for spending some time with me. This is
man.
This is
thank you for everything you've done.
Oh man, honestly a pleasure. Like getting to talk to you guys and work with you over the campaign and share and try and get people to check out your comics. Seriously, is a pleasure. And the fact that I get to do that as a job is just fucking gnarly, right? Like I wake up every day thinking that I'm going to wake up again and it's not going to be that, like this is the pre-wake up dream where you're happy for a moment and then you like wake up in hell. No, it's been so fun and just to work with Invader to talk about this comic, to try and get people to fund it on Kickstarter, to get the word out. I'm looking forward to continue doing so for the direct market release, because I really do mean it, like with all my heart. It's a great book. It's a great piece of comics. It does everything you want a great comic book to do. And like you guys mentioned, you strayed from a lot of tropes. You made some risky decisions, to do your own thing, to follow your own vision. And all I can see is that every choice you guys made down that road paid off immensely. And so I congratulate you both. I know it was a long time coming. I'm sorry you had to wait so long, but I'm glad it's happening now. I really am. And I wish you both future success. Like I'm really excited. I hope to see more from both of you individually and both of you together. Now because I am such a polite and wondrous host, this is the part where I want you guys, I don't know if you guys have newsletters, websites, or anything you guys want to shout out now. Like Mark, do you got or where do we follow you on social media? Like, where's the best place to keep track of you?
Oh man, I mean, Twitter, I guess, until it completely bursts into flames.
Well, it's on fire, but I guess until the smoke clears, right?
No, I mean Mark E. Espionsa, 2 E's in the middle there, and that's kind of where I'm just letting everyone know.
I'm 2 C's.
I know, and you're Adam C. I saw that. I was like, oh God,
you guys are fucking adorable. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, I'm just like, Adam's wife just being like, is this an excuse for you to run away together? Because it's been a long. I mean, Adam posted the photo today of us kind of like wearing the same outfit. Like
I saw that.
That was just, I think it was inventory day at the store we were working at, and we both walked in wearing the exact same thing, and it was just kind of like, oh, really? All right. Well, I mean, no one was surprised either.
So Marky Espionsa on the socials, any newsletter or anything that we can sign up for you?
No, not as of yet. Right. I mean, I will tell you, this conversation invigorated lit a flame in me. Definitely been slacking off for a while now, but I know. Yeah. I'm excited.
Quit fucking slacking, dude.
I know. And my buddies who watch it, he texted me. Baby. He was like, "Oh, see, people want you to write, you son of a bitch." I'm like, "Fine,
we do." Right. I know. I know you may not want to do it, but you're fucking good at it. So now you got it. You have no choice.
All right.
You
heard it here first.
You got to do it. Now, Adam, I know you got a website and some stuff. Where's the best place to keep track of you, bud?
So I'm on all 12 social media sites.
God, there's so many.
No, I'm on Twitter and Instagram mostly, but then Blue Sky and Threads. Yeah.
Threads. I'm on Threads now too.
It's all Adam C. Cahoon. So Adam CC AHOON. And I do have a website. I think it's just adamcahoon.com.
Yep.
But that thing's dusty. I haven't been on that thing in a while.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, what you need to do, first of all, is follow these guys on social medias, because you need to keep track of them, because they got cool. I'm getting a vibe, and I feel like this time in the next couple of years, there's going to be some cool stuff, more cool stuff coming from these guys. And you would all it would benefit you all if you love comic books to follow them, to keep track of them, whether it's for future, future installations of Maglev, or more nasty, or, more hopefully new projects that they have been whispering about, that we aren't privy to yet. But, these guys are very, very strong creatively, very much worth keeping your eyes on, and they're just not pricks, which is nice too. Like I like for my social media timelines to be not lots of pricks, right? No, these guys aren't, they're not posting like hot takes for engagement, right? They're just like, they're very pleasant and approachable and happy to be here. And on social media, I feel like that's a good way to be right now. And of course, like if you find the link in the comments, I'm even going to post it again for you fucking slackers who might have missed it. You guys got to check out Greetings from the Maglev. This is a really great comic. I don't know. I've said that more than I've said organically tonight, and I've said both a lot. But this is it's so good. It's so good. It's so different. It's weird. It's violent. It's a little bit goofy, and it's got it's got a good message of the times and of where kind of we're headed behind it too. And so there's a lot of layers. It's that old blooming onion metaphor, ladies and gentlemen, where every bite is tasty, and it just keeps getting tastier the more you dive into it. So I mean, definitely
just like Adam.
Just like Adam. But yeah, congratulations on the Kickstarter success. Like I said, very excited for the direct market release as well, which the Kickstarter wraps up here in less than 3 days. So you got 3 days left to check out the Kickstarter. It'll be in shops September 6th. And I just, I don't know what else to say about this book other than it's just damn good. And people need to put their money where my mouth is and bet.
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah,
not hygienic place to put money.
Yeah, right. No. And I won't tell those bar stories, but yeah. Shit. Anyway, so no, guys, this was so fun to talk to you both. Seriously, I respect both of you. You're both funny and talented, and I hope we get to see more and more of you as time goes by. And you guys are going to be at SDCC, right? Both of you, or one of you, or
I will be.
Oh, Mark. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be at my Larry Young's booth, AIT Planet Lar, booth 2001, hanging out. And I'll have some like early copies of Maglev, exclusive Comic-Con ones that have only existed when Adam and I were just seeing if we could put a book together and see what it would look like. So
the one you printed in the back of the print shop and hand stapled it together.
No, I can't. We found a company that I think Adam
printed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. No, and it was like Adam was like, "Hey, I sent it wasn't that expensive," and I was like, "All right, place the order," and then it showed up like 2 days later, and they're really good quality.
Wow,
who knew nowadays?
Yeah,
you can just send stuff to people and they'll make you a comic book. What?
Yeah, it's great because I've seen the original cover, like the first cover, which somehow I used in promo, and Invader was like, "Dude, that's the wrong cover," and then I was like, "Dude, that's the cover previews is showing," and they're like, "What the fuck? How did previews get that?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I was just using the internet." Fuck. We only got all that fixed, so that's so yeah. Like, find Mark. Get yourself a little piece of comic book history, something that no one else will have. I'm sure he'll sign it for you too while you're at the table.
Buttons also. I have a couple buttons hanging out.
Buttons, comics, signatures, good vibes, good talk. Go see this motherfucker over the weekend. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be good to chat with.
And one of the stickers, I don't really have any more of these, but this was the original Maglev sticker design that we did.
Oh wow!
I think Adam and I were I was like, make it look action-packed. And I was like, it's not really that much of an action book. And I was like, that's what the people want. They want blood and violence. Fine.
Well, hey, it is what we want. We want the blood, the violence, the revenge, the standoffishness, the fuck you to the man, eat the rich, love the poor, like that kind of the Robin Hood mentality that evolved as the decades went on, right?
Yeah, totally.
Well, guys, again, thank you so much for spending time with me. This was so fun. And unless anybody else has anything to say, I'm gonna play the music and set you free. I know Adam's got dad shit to do probably, and
yep, it's about to come down the stairs. Not the shit.
I got a couple of cats too. I got to take care of.
Yeah. Nice.
It's fine.
Kids and cats. These guys got shit to take care of. Everybody, our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Really encourage you to check out that Kickstarter. Check out the link. We posted it. Check out the Nasty. It's out right now from Adam and John Lee's. It's fucking killer. So is Maglev. Keep an eye on what Invader does. I won't shut up about it. You guys will watch my show. You're probably tired of hearing about it. but that's how it is. It's my show. It's my time to talk, and you're going to hear about things that I want to cover. And so, yeah, love more, hate less, read comics. We'll see you later with more awesome creators, more awesome comics. Thank you, everybody. We love you. Enjoy Monday. I thought it was later in the week. I was about to say enjoy your weekend, but it's a little too early for that. We are, though, one good thing about Monday, though, is we are one step closer to Friday, which is a couple steps closer to SDCC. So for all you people going out to the con this weekend, stay safe, be kind to each other, don't be a fucking weirdo. And also I'm jealous. I wish I could go, and unfortunately I'll be in Kansas City sweating because it's hot and humid here. But you guys had a great show. Mark, I hope I hope you get to hype up some Maglev and have a good show. But I hear that's a crazy experievery
It is. It's probably I lost track. I think it's like my 8th time being there.
Oh damn!
It's still overwhelming every time. Every time's like the first time.
Yes. Except it hurts a little bit less each. I'm just kidding. All right. On that note, let's say goodbye, everybody. We'll see you soon, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks, Blake.
It's Blake's Buzz Live.